Crossroads is funded by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the National Endowment for the Arts, and the Pew Charitable Trusts. Today on Crossroads, the legacy of the Black Panthers.
A lot of people heard about the Panthers as sort of almost like a paramilitary, anti-white group. That's what the media told us.
Street video art in Chicago.
The graffiti was something that didn't stick with me very well. The video has. It seemed to be more powerful, and a lot more people have seemed to actually stop what they're doing and turn around and look at the screen.
Networking Black men who are victims of violence.
I was angry. You gotta remember, it's natural to become very upset and angry. And being a black male, you want to hurt somebody.
And more.
What do we want? What do we want? Justice! Positive people!
The Black Panther Party, which was part of the African American struggle during the 1960s, is now being looked at with renewed interest. References to the Panthers can be found in recently published books, in rap music, on the stage, and in a new movie. Concerns about increasing hardship in African American communities is giving some of the Panthers' ideals a second wind. Stephanie O'Neill reports from Los Angeles.
For many young African Americans who grew up during the 60s and 70s, the Black Panther Party, with its bold, controversial battle against oppression in the African American community, provided them with their first taste of Black power.
The first time I saw a picture of them in the newspaper, they were lined up, they had the jackets on, the berets, the guns. It was the first time I ever looked at a picture of black people in a newspaper or magazine and got a feeling of empowerment.
Los Angeles resident and political activist Goody Williams says the Panthers were pivotal in defining her perceptions of herself as an African American.
And that image stayed in my mind. It was sort of like a bodyguard that stayed with me like my whole life. Up until that time, you see people attacked by dogs. You saw people sitting at lunch counters having food poured on their heads and stuff. And that served its purpose, that kind of civil rights movement. But when I saw the Black Panthers, it did something for me that was like invaluable in terms of how I felt about myself.
Today, Williams is co-director and Minister of Culture for the new African American Vanguard movement, a sort of Black Panther Party offspring that emerged last October with the goal of rekindling revolutionary activism among African Americans. The organization, which includes among its leaders members of the former Black Panther Party, has already handed out more than 1,000 bags of free groceries in a food program modeled after the Black Panther breakfast giveaways. It also has plans for a boys' drum corps, as well as other educational programs. Williams says her job in the nascent LA-based organization is to develop cultural activities, as well as to work with those in the arts, who she says can help generate more positive images.
We hook up with politically conscious musicians, artists, filmmakers, playwrights, and we're just encouraging them to do what they're doing, and we're trying to work with them and create more politically conscious works.
Among the artists who've met with Vanguard members are the rap group Public Enemy and African-American actor and filmmaker Mario Van Peebles, who directed the recently released feature film Panther, written by his father, filmmaker Melvin Van Peebles. The movie shows a side of the Panthers unknown to most in its portrayal of them as revolutionaries who fed the poor, battled discrimination, and fought when forced to defend themselves, as is depicted in this scene showing actor Marcus Chong, who plays Panther leader Huey Newton, standing up to Oakland police officers.
Michigan law clearly states it's unlawful to carry a live round of ammunition in the chamber of a shotgun or rifle in a vehicle. Pig.
Refer to him as officer, and don't you refer to him as boy.
Well, is it loaded? I tell you, officer, it wasn't, but now it is.
A lot of people heard about the Panthers as sort of almost like a paramilitary, anti-white group. That's what the media told us.
Mario Van Peebles.
And they didn't tell us that the Panthers started food and breakfast programs, they started sickle anemia programs, they started busing to prisons and shoe giveaways for the community.
The Defense Minister of the Black Panther Party, Huey Newton! You know our war is here at home against hard drugs in the community, against unemployment. That's all the decisions of our war.
The words and ideals of Black Panther Party co-founder Huey Newton and other black leaders at the time provide the focus of the Vanguard's weekly political education classes. The mandatory meetings are held in a different home each week where members discuss political writings. Vanguard co-director and member of the former Panthers, Sharif Abdullah, starts this class with an introduction to some of Huey Newton's writings.
The publication of this speech and this article really marked a split or a new foundation in the Black Panther Party, a very abrupt philosophical change. During the period of time when Huey was locked up, the party basically operated under the influence of Elvis Cleaver. And the party went off into a very militaristic setting. There was a lot of
the meetings generate discussions on such topics as the Panthers' successful early years, when their community programs generated excitement among African Americans. They also study the party's tragedies during their battles with law enforcement agencies that in later years took the lives of 28 Black Panthers and 14 officers of the law. Vanguard leaders say this time around they've left behind the violent rhetoric that characterized the organization in its later years and instead resurrected a kinder, gentler Panther that embraces many of the party's original community goals. Vanguard co-founder Malik Ismail.
We have a similar philosophy, but yet we have our own work to do. We have our own goals, and our thing is going to be toward more or less serving community just as the Panthers did. But yet, we're not going to try to get into any confrontational thing with established authority, but yet, at the same time, we will defend ourselves against that if we're aggressed upon.
Civil rights lawyer and Vanguard co-founder Kwaku Duran, who helped reorganize the Panthers' Los Angeles office in the 70s, says the Vanguard's activities are attracting new members who are mostly in their teens and 20s.
Times are really more critical than they were during the 60s. In terms of the status of African American people. So, we are the vanguard, and we see the need, to wake the people up, as Malcolm would say, and to organize the people, as the Black Panther would say.
And filmmaker Van Peebles agrees.
The very situations that brought about the party in the first place are coming back again. And there's a lot of students who are moving onto campuses and people that are saying, hey, wait a minute, with this sort of new Republican sort of, contract on America, there's a lot of these situations that are swinging back around again.
Filmmaker Mario Van Peebles, who directed the recently released movie Panther. For Crossroads, I'm Stephanie O'Neill in Los Angeles.